It's a sunny day here in Fountain, Colorado, as we're here at Pikes Peak International Raceway for the running of the AAA 400. The weather here is gorgeous, mid to upper 80s today. This afternoon, just past noon here on the mountain time, 2 p.m. here on the East Coast. Things have been interesting here this weekend. Qualifying. Joshua Leanbatch in the M&M's caramel paint scheme won the pole over Robert Smith, Richmond winner. Ironically, bringing the same car literally right down to the exact paint scheme that he will be running in this race. Joseph Lombard is another notable. He starts fourth. And there was a crash in the first round of two drivers trying to get to pit road involving Caleb Hoffman and Zoex Moon. See, 22, she was slowing down. Caleb Hoffman had still at a pretty hefty amount of speed coming in. He hit the brakes as much as he could. Clipped her. Both cars spun in turn 3. Both sustained major damage in the qualifying session, and both are going to be starting out back. While we're here, let's take a look at our starting lineup. Row 1, we have the M&M's Caramel Chevrolet, or Toyota, and the Alliance Truck Parts Ford. Row 2, we have the DeWalt Power Tools Toyota and the Smithfield Ford. Starting this afternoon from row 3, we have the Ortho Fire Ant Killer Ford and the FedEx Toyota. Starting today from row 4, we have the Jimmy John's Freaky Fast Toyota and the Lowe's Chevrolet. Sorry, this is a Chevy. Rounding out the top 10 starting spots are the Furniture Row Toyota and the Caterpillar Chevrolet. Starting today from row 6, we have the Farmers Insurance Chevrolet and the Exalta Chevrolet. Starting today from row 7, we have the McDonald's Mactonite Chevrolet and the Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. Starting this afternoon from row 8, we have the Sunny D Ford and the Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet. Starting from row 9, we have the Advocare Ford and the Target Chevrolet. Starting from row 10, we have the Rush Truck Center Chevrolet and the Motorcraft Ford. Starting from row 11, we have the Menard Chevrolet and the Nature's Bakery Chevrolet. Starting from row 12, we have the Passat Nation Chevrolet and the Dustless Boston Toyota. Starting from row 13, we have the 29 car and the 56 car. Starting from row 14, we have the Johnson Auto Plaza Chevrolet and the 15 car. Starting today from row 15, we have the Hot Wheels Chevrolet and the 9 car. Starting today from row 16, we have the 55 car and the 33 car. And starting today from the rear of the field, we have the AAA Insurance Chevrolet and the Stanley Toyota. Alright, so today's keys to the race here, it's going to be slick, stay as cool as you can. Drivers are allowed to keep any form of ways to keep themselves cool in the car as they need, such as extra ice packs, extra water bottles down on pit road. There is what literally looks like a Gatorade cooler here in one pit road. One team actually did bring a Gatorade cooler from a nearby Walmart, stocked it full of water bottles for their driver today. A lot of teams have done that. Obviously, the hoses as well are obviously going to be a thing. There's going to be extra hoses that a driver needs. Keep your car clean, out of trouble. And typically these races do get a little aggressive late. So look for some bump and run to be put in place. But I don't see it being the thing possibly with how fast that 18's been. Last race here on the oval before we run the road course layout here next year. When we come here after Chicagoland. Keep in mind the Season 6 IHOP Cup Series schedule was announced recently. And this place will become a roval and move a week later to allow for Chicagoland to move from a Thursday night August race to a Saturday night race in June. Pace car is off. DW, Larry, it's time. All right, DW, reach up there. She's big. He's a 1 mile oval. He's fast. She's wide. She acts like a short track sometimes. Beautiful day here for a race. Green flag in the air and buggity, buggity, buggity. Let's go racing in the Rocky Mountains, boys. Great start for the 2 car. Well ahead of the 20 and the 2 as we head down into turn 3. As you see further back, while Josh Willenbach will lead the opening lap, look at this. As soon as they dropped into turn 1, Zoex Moon dropped on the apron, which is right, didn't clip the grass a little bit. Caleb Hoffman split the last row, and Caleb Hoffman's passed almost 8 cars in 2 turns. And Zoex Moon has passed 6. Still side by side from about 4th on back. Looks like the 16 up the hill down in turn 3 and 4. Dylan Murway, hometown kid. Looking to put on a good show today. Remember, second time we came back to Colorado before the All-Star stuff. Dylan Murway won the race at Boulder Valley. And some late drama when it literally looked like half the field was caught up in a crash. And speaking of almost crashes, watch this. Further back in the field, around maybe 19th or so. Actually, further back. The 83, nearly in the 19 we're going at it. The 83 came down in front of the 19, moved him up the hill, almost got him in the fence in turn 1. And got a flat tire. Turn 3. Turns 3 and 4. It is the 43. Flat right front, guys. Flat right front. He was running fourth too. Yeah, just it went on me in 3. I'm still driving it, but steering. It's real hard to steer this thing. Yeah, car's pretty destroyed, man. Take it to the house. Your car's pretty banged up. Just take it to the house. Take it to the house. We're done. KO'd pretty good here. This was a concern here in the pre-race show that there might be a possibility that that right front tires can be a pretty big issue here, especially with how hot it is and how slick drivers are and drivers this track can be, and how a lot of guys experiment. Saw a lot of surprising beating and banging early on, so I wouldn't be surprised if somebody makes contact with the right guy and suddenly cuts a tire. That is Joseph Lombard. His day is done. And the green flag is back out. The 18 down low for this restart. Down low, get down low, get down low. Get down, get down, get down. 3 laps in this race, 3 of 15 on tap. Took the green at lap 4. That lane didn't go over at all on that move. That restart. Oh, here we go. Like the 4 and the 11 getting aggressive. Here it looks like it kind of stacked a lot of. Oh, here we go. These guys are just fanning out all over the place. Look at that. 3 wide at a 1 mile racetrack. What can you expect, honestly? Alright, then this is a recipe for a bit of a disaster. Everything gets sorted out. And Brendan Little sideways for a moment off 2. Yep. Into the wall. And he gets down and out of the way. Smacked with the back end, guys. Get the hammers ready. Like, we stay green at the moment. Green, still green, still green. Come on, still green. Brendan Little down on pit road. Down pit road, and Steve Burns is there. What do you got, Steve? Mike Brennan got on pit road, said car just stepped out on us here in turn 2. I just got the wall pretty good. Luckily, you got out of the way before anything else happened. They're gonna tape the car up. It looks like we got a crash here on the backstretch. Oh, big rock here. Looked like a couple car of the back markers. In trouble midway down the backstretch. 29 at M&M's Cup Series. And it looked like this one had a little bit of... He's sitting down on the inside wall. 83 of M&M's Cup Series. 25, Noah Spalding. And you see the 41. Second caution has come out. There's the bumper damage off the 41. Off 41 from when the 29 came up. Amazingly, supposedly saved it going into turn 3. How loose and slippery these cars get, and then couple cars behind them wrecked. Behind this group started crashing into each other. Kind of weird direction in that one. That wreck. And Brendan Little still on pit. He is still on pit road right now. They're doing everything they can to get their driver Brendan Little back out and hopefully not end up giving themselves another DNF and what has already been a pretty bad luck-ridden year for that bunch, for the Roush Fenway camp, where so far it looks like Peyton Beasley or Alvin Alonso are usually the best performing Roush Fenway cars, but they didn't really qualify too good with the exception of the 16, and then hitting the wall in the backstretch. Anyways, while we're here, let's go tickets to the race. After today's race here at Pikes Peak International Raceway, there is a 2-week break that these drivers get from racing before everything returns July 7th for the last race on Fox. The Pepsi 400 Saturday night race at Daytona under the lights. Qualifying for that race is July 5th, 6 p.m. Eastern on FX. Practice is earlier that afternoon at 2 p.m. on FX. The second practice session, the morning one before Busch qualifying on FX, is going to be held at 11 a.m. Eastern. And then there's going to be a final qualifying session at 3 p.m. 3:30 p.m. Eastern. And then Saturday, July 7th, the race day starts at 5:30 with the NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot. And then then a special 1-hour pre-race show presented by Pizza Hut where it's going to feature a pretty patriotic display of saluting our troops, as is customary tradition on when we come down to Daytona in the summer. And speaking of today, while we wait things out, we're going to be racing here. So let's go ahead and crank this one up. Listen to spotter coverage. Ready. Rolling. Green. Come on. Green flag. Green flag. Rolling. 3. Rolling bottom. Bottom 3. Bottom 3 mid. Bottom 3 wide. 3 wide. Okay, 2 outside. Gibbs cars are racing each other. Other up front. Gibbs is racing each other up front. 78 outside 3. Outside 3. A lot of people. Wow, I can do it right. Yeah, dude, please. Outside 3. Whoa, the 3! Jonathan Morrison tipped into the grass on the access road. Comes back up the track, saves it. Amazingly, does not crash, wreck anybody, him or anybody else. But he loses a lot of positions. Still there. Come on. Green, stay green. Wow, watch. You want to talk about some driving by this 3 car? Let's go ahead and look inside his windshield. This is a wrecked car right here. He should be going to the inside wall right about now and coming back up into traffic. Amazingly, everybody else got out of the gas and didn't, cause a bigger situation. He just got tipped. Then he comes back up right about here. The 17 is to go way, 6 is to go way wide down in turn 1, or turn 3, I'm sorry. Let's go way wide to miss all this. Wow, that's slick right there. The fact that he's able to pull that off. Back up front. Looks like the 48 of Nate Sherman. Looks like he's got a strong car today. Bringing himself back to the front to second with the 20, but they're going to have to do something real quick if they want to catch this 18. He has put together a perfect race, leading every single lap in a fashion of what I would call pure dominance, and possibly an ass whooping as well. Last time somebody led every single lap in a race en route to a win was Jacob Tube last season when he won at Loudon to advance to the round of 12. He is well on his way to doing that, but Nate Sherman currently proves he's the fastest car on the racetrack right now. Vince, what do you got? Mike, Nate got on the radio and told crew chief Chad Canals that whatever he did that last stop worked, because they have passed he passed one of the other fast car on the racetrack, the other guy that sat on the front row today, and he's setting his sights on our pole sitter, who's currently pulling away a bit and catching some pretty tight lap traffic. Pick right now in form of the 29 car. Smoke again from the 16. Brennan Little looks like right rear tire smoke this time. While we're at it, let's go Duracell Credit One Bank through the field, starting with Matt Yoakum. Josh Belinbach said, I am enjoying this car. This is the best car we've ever had here at Pikes Peak. Yeah, Bill, because of how fast it is. We're going to bring this piece back to Richmond in a few weeks, in August, end of July. He's been able to lap a lot of cars. He's really overall just enjoyed how fast he's gotten. He's been Meanwhile, over in second, Nate Sherman trapped on the outside lane. His teammates in the 25 holding up the 55, it looked like, on the outside, with allowing the 20 to close up on the inside. Nate told his crew, told Chad Canals that this car is perfect. Whatever they did on the last stop to free it up really allowed the car to move around quite a bit and allowed him to drive it a lot more. Meanwhile, Zach Speed just took the second from the 48. Saying he's got another fast car as well. He's been quiet all day. They're giving minor updates to the car. Never really complained a lot about any issues the car has. He's currently sitting in second, trying to run down his teammates so he can score a win in a pretty long winless route. Have to go all the way back to fourth for Robert Smith, who gets moved up the hill by the 4 car. I talked to crew chief Paul Wolf this morning. Said he's got a good car. We have our best car from Richmond. We ran out front in that one. Obviously, the difference here is that race was a night race. This is a mid-afternoon race, early to mid-afternoon race. So you're obviously going to see many parallels from racing under the lights at a short track to racing here. Obviously, the groove is a lot narrower, and his driver is adapted just very well. There's your through the field, sponsored by Credit One Bank. As Xavier Sodreska is putting an absolute clinic on this field. Oh, smoke on the front stretch. A wreck on the front. Wreck coming off turn 4. Big wreck. Brendan Little in the 16. Mason Powers in the 9. Jake Basinger in the second place car, Zach Speed, in trouble. Yeah, car's smoking pretty good. Big right front dash. Right front. On damage here. Just we're gonna have to beat the Nets out here. almost is like a lot of people really stacked up. It was just one of those accordion type deals, type wrecks. Tough break for Zach Speed. He was having such a good car. But look who this brings into the picture. Dylan Murway in the 4. Very quiet on the radio today. Unusually quiet race for him, because he's normally up front mixing up with the leaders, but he's been very conservative all day. And surprisingly, this is our second caution of the afternoon. And since the free pass obviously was going to be to the 16 of Brendan Little in that accident, he will take the wave around, but there will be no free pass on this caution. So anyways, the free pass on this yellow will go to the 41 of Hunter Rizzoni. Ever since his win at Bowman Gray back in April, that season, that team has not really had the best of luck this year. Mostly just running poorly or getting wrecked. See Zach Speed down on pit road. He's been on and off multiple times, it seems like, in these last few laps. And anyways, while we get ready for another restart with 5 laps to go, keep in mind that this will get interesting. Joshua Leanbatch has led every lap in this race today. I mean every lap. Could he pull off this defeat? Lead every single this season? Jacob Tube did it last year at Loudon. It's like the 18's in a good shot to win, but I don't know about Nate Sherman. He is very hungry. He will. Looks like he may move the 18 if he needs to. How about Jacob Tube? He's hovered around the top 10 a good majority of the day. Started 16th. First time he's qualified mid-pack this year. He's kind of been considered the king of knockout qualifying. Usually almost always being in a conversation to go on in the final round. Surprisingly, he wasn't. Said the car was tight. Alan and the guys worked on it a lot during this last caution, first caution. We've kind of been able to make some passes. And this is going to be an interesting restart. We know how late these guys like to be on restarts. Could be a possibility of a bumper being used in these next 5 laps. DW, if I were you, sit back and enjoy get ready to enjoy probably the craziest 5 laps of your life. Ready? Oh, Nate Sherman pushing the 18 going into 1. I'm thinking he almost had a different idea of just pushing him up the hill. But he lays off. The 2 comes down going into 1. Still there. Come on. Nate Sherman right to the back bumper of the 18. Still there. Come on. Still there. Side by side. Maybe. Oh, he's on him. He is all over that 18. Into turn 3. He's allowed him to pull away a little bit. And then back into turn 1 again. Hunter Miller has been moved up the racetrack by the 11. And a little bit in taking the 78 up there as well. Michigan winner a couple weeks ago. Look at that. 5 cars, 6 cars, single file. 4 of them trying to battle for 7th. Caleb Hoffman wins this deal. Hunter Miller gets into the 78. Saves that car. But that was almost really, really big right here. 3 to go. Nate Sherman, he's there. He's gonna he's playing with him at this point. He doesn't want to hit him too early. He's just playing with him to see what he'd do or what he's going to do. And here comes the 48 to the inside. Sure, there may be a slow car part of the way. Slow car from 3. Slow car up turn 3, 55. No caution in yet. Nate Sherman finally may have caught the 18 off guard, but can the 18 power back? He does by a bumper here. 2 to go at Pike's PPIR. All the fans on their feet, seeing who will it be, the 48 or the 18. Do not count out that 4 car. It's not afraid to mix things up possibly. That 18 is on that 48. Side by side through 3 and 4, looks like advantage to the 48. But the 18 comes back down to the bottom. White flag. An exciting brawl battle for the win here at Pikes Peak in the late stages with probably the fewest cautions in race history and a race pace to boot. Nate Sherman is going to try to Joshua Leanbatch, 2 more corners. Nate Sherman, he's there. He moves him up the hill. Coming to the flag. Nate Sherman gets the win here at Pikes Peak with a last lap bump and run as there's a crash on the backstretch. Menard's Cup Series in the 27 is in it. Xavier Chodruska in the 21 is in it. Hunter Miller in the 5 turned head on into the outside retaining wall on the last lap. The winner net is down. He is out. He's already climbing out. It's all you, bud. Imagine that. I tell you what, this was the big move of the race right here. This bump, if he didn't drive it in deep like he did, he does not win this race, and the 18 goes to victory lane. And speaking of Joshua Leanbatch, you gotta feel for him. Leading every single lap except where it counted. The last one. the bumper to the back of the 18 up the racetrack. He put him up the racetrack quite a ways. It was a clean bump. And he just slid up, took the checkered flag, and now the crash on the backstretch was just a three-car deal that began when the 17 and the 5 are pushing each other. The 5 just got hooked flush. Got hooked in the left rear. Hit the wall pretty good. Then he comes back. The 21 goes for a long slide. Comes up. 27 tries to miss it. Nearly just kind of grazes his left front. And very low attrition today. In terms of cars out of the race, only one car failed to finish. That being the 43. And the last car on the lead lap obviously was the 41 car. In terms of results, Nate Sherman wins the AAA Insurance 400 from Pikes Peak. Saturday, July 7th, the last race on NASCAR on Fox for the year before we go to NBC, July 15th at Kansas. Pepsi 400 coverage for that race begins at 6 with a 1-hour special pre-race show at Daytona. Obviously, it being a special race, it is typically a tradition to honor our nation's heroes on a late birthday for America. Here are the unofficial results. See your drivers scroll by on your screen. See where you finished. Only one driver failed to finish. That being the 43 Joseph Lombard. Tough break for him. But it's going to be a bit of a vacation for these IHOP Cup Series drivers, as they're off till July 5th for IHOP Cup Series qualifying from Daytona. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. Eastern on FX. And then Saturday, July 7th, from Daytona at 6 p.m. will be a special 1-hour pre-race show from Daytona. And then at 7 p.m. telecast of the Pepsi Max 400 from Daytona International Speedway. Under the Lights, coverage for that begins at 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox. And just think, after that race, we're going to be done. We're going to turn the keys to TNT and NBC as they take us through the rest of the year into Atlanta, into the championship race at Atlanta. I guarantee you Daytona will probably go out with a bang. I have that feeling. Rumors that the crowd's going to be sold out there. Stricter plate racing on a Saturday night. Oh, it's going to be a fun race. Saturday, July 7th, 7 p.m. Eastern.